Craig, can you give us your thoughts on the defeat this afternoon to Featherstone at home, please?
Yeah, a bit of a frustrating one to be fair. I thought it was a bit of a scrappy game to be honest. I don't think both sides were particularly great. I think it followed a fairly similar pattern to a lot of his recent starts, where first sort of 10-15 minutes we're in that set for set contest, and 13-14 minutes in, then we break and they go back to back and we're 12-0 down after being in that arm wrestle at the start, and it just proves that we know that we're great for a block of 10-15 minutes, and then we break and we concede again. The positive on the back of that was that we didn't do what we did last week against Bradford and roll over. We came back and we won the rest of the half 4-0. So there's positives there that we showed a bit of fight and a bit of determination and a bit of desire to play for each other. So that was the positive aspects of it. But it's disappointing that you concede back-to-back tries when you're going in that set-for-set contest and we're having to wrestle the game back.
That first half in particular, I know it was only an 8-point lead that Fev had at the break, but there were 2 tries ruled out, so it could have quite easily been a different scoreline at half time, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could, but I think the way that the pattern of the first half went, I think Featherstone had the better of the first 20 minutes. I think we had the better of the second 20 minutes, and we just didn't take the chances that were afforded to us. And the way that we started both halves, we didn't complete our opening set in each half, which puts you on the back foot a little bit to start with. So that's disappointing that you want to get into the first half, you want to get into the second half, and you knock your sets off and complete and defend and get into that arm wrestle. But we didn't really do that. I think we was held an opportunity to do that in both first sets of the half with possession.
In a game like this one, as I say, that 8-point lead, certain scores, whoever scores first can sometimes be the key to winning. But as I say, just how crucial was that score for Featherstone to open the score in the second half?
Yeah, it was. And it's if we put them 3 scores in front, then you're chasing the game a little bit. But again, sort of pleased with the application of the players that are stuck in there and the fought for each other. We know where we are at this moment in time, so we've got people playing out of position. We've got people that are missing. We know that. So we've got to make the best of what we've got. And I thought today, the positives to come out today, the players had a real good dig. They worked hard for each other and they stuck there for the full 80 minutes and didn't get too despondent, didn't get too disheartened when Featherstone scored that first try in the second half. So previous weeks it's been a blowout score just because it's almost like we know the game's gone and it's damage limitation, looking after yourself. But I thought they looked after each other today.
Plenty of rotation towards the back end of the game. Is everyone all right? Like Marshy, Corey Johnson, as I say, there was.
Yeah, well, Marshy is still coming back from that long-term injury that he had. So he's managing his minutes, so he came back on. So he's okay. As Marshy, he's still struggling a little bit with minutes in his legs, but he's getting there. Corey Johnson came off with an HIA, but fortunately for us, he's past that. Martin Riley, he came off with some sort of impact around his hip area, so we'll have a look at how he is. And we've got a lot of bumps and bruises, a lot of niggles that we'll have to have a look at this week, which is it's an important week for us this week, building into the Hunslet game.
One player I do want to mention, Billy Walkley, back from injury. Just how impressed were you with his performance this afternoon?
I thought it was outstanding, mate. I think the way that Billy's conducted himself, the way that he's played, the way that he's applied himself in training, about his personal development, doing videos with the coaching staff and asking questions and having that desire and that want to get better, I think he's shown all the attributes of the reason why we've brought him to the club, and he's certainly one of the players that we want to build this team around longer term. So really pleased to have him back. I thought his work rate was outstanding, and coming through the other side, generating some quick play of the balls, and I thought it was great for us.
And Will Oakes touched upon him last week. You gave him his debut last weekend, and then obviously he's played a full 80 minutes there. So again, there must be another positive there to take out of that.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I think what Will gives you is it gives you some punch coming out of the backfield. He wins a few rucks coming out of yardage, which I think we've struggled with at times this year to generate some goal forward coming out of yardage. I think it's been too easy for teams to restrict our metres coming out of our own sort of 20-30 metre area. Will give you a little bit of that. And I thought towards the end of that first half today, when we were a little bit more direct, we've got a quick play of the ball and as Nines were picking up and going direct at their big middles, we got a little bit of joy on that. Just a bit disappointing we didn't do that at the start of the second half, and I thought we allowed Featherstone just to dictate field position a bit too much.
And now on to Hunslet next week. We go into that game above them in the table with obviously the season that we've had so far. How do you prepare for a game like that one, knowing it'll be a tough one, won't it? But a different one.
Yeah, we've just spoken in the dressing rooms, and one of the things mentioned at the start of the game is that with the leagues combining now, there's not really a great deal of jeopardy with the top 4, bottom 4 playoffs anymore. But we can still control how we end this season. That's in our that's in our capabilities, it's in our hands. That is how we finish the season. And I thought it was a step forward today with the application, the effort, and the determination the guys put in. But we've got 2 games left against Hunslet away and Barrow at home, and we want to win 2 games. And it's not going to paper over the cracks of the poor season, but it gives a little bit of momentum, building into next season. We're already starting our recruitment process for next season and recruiting hard, and we've retained a number of our players this year that we're hoping to release fairly soon. So, we're fully focused on the end of this season strong, but also building strong and positive for next season.